rumble of the discourse. We've taken an abandoned concrete factory at the margins of the declining American empire and repurposed it into a battleground where 19 separate entities from across the political spectrum enter the discourse one by one and do battle to determine who controls the narrative force of the discourse. I hope you'll join me, your Southern Gothic futurist host, dirtgod Raven Mac, for each and every episode of Monday Night Rumble of the Discourse. Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy dirtgod Raven Mac. We are back at the abandoned concrete factory at the edge of town, aka Catbird Arena. Week 2 of our winter 2024 Monday Night Rumble of the Discourse. 27 competitors, 2 at the opening bell, just like a Royal Rumble, except for it's about the discourse. These folks get a point for eliminating each other, bonus points for those final 3 spots. This is a 7-week series. If you've not been with us before, this is a 7-week series. First 6 weeks, folks are accumulating points to make that 7th week finale for our winter 2024 season. They will come out in reverse order. Biggest point getters come out last, so they'll be trying to be the champion of the discourse for this winter 2024 season. We are sponsored tonight and for this entire season by the Friends of Catbird. These are some folks that love Catbird, know Catbird, a local, colorful older fella that in the crowd here. And the people that supported it wanted Catbird to have a role on the show. I talked to Catbird before the show. He's not going to do any commentary. But I asked Catbird for some words of wisdom, and Catbird said when it came to politics, he thought of things like pickle jar politics. So like when somebody dies, or he mentioned a cousin of his that had a house fire, and they put pickle jars up at all the country stores, and everybody kicked in what they could, and it was pickle jar politics. And Catbird told me he feels like politics should be like that, and you know, they definitely got enough money in the government to fill up all those pickle jars for what everybody needs to be taken care of, but for some reason they don't do it, and we all got to be out here struggling and suffering. But Catbird said his politics is pickle jars. Pickle jar politics. Anyways, after 1 week, our standings, Clarence Thomas at the top. Even though Donald Trump won last week, Clarence Thomas was at the top. Donald Trump second, President Biden third. Police stayed up there, Cornell West, and then others. And we're going to go ahead and go up to the ring, and you can see that the police state will not be competing this week. The police state and the Lady Cop are going to be our referees this week, so they will not be competing in the event. Coming out first, Donald Trump. He said he wanted to come out first after finishing at the top, finishing last week and not making the most points. Trump, of course, he always an interesting week with him. He was on that Epstein document. Well, and speaking of those Epstein documents, here comes Bill Clinton. So I guess we're going to have a battle of the Epstein clients to start this thing off. Bill Clinton and Donald Trump showed up prominently on those unsealed Epstein documents. Of course, they didn't reveal any clients. The client list will never be revealed. I doubt that'll ever be revealed until it's irrelevant, to be honest. But both of these men showed up enough with Epstein that you have to imagine from the things they've said and done in other places that they most likely partook of his services. And I would say if you don't believe, if you think one of these men did and the other didn't, or you think either of these men didn't, you are being stupid, to be honest, and naive. Both of these men likely used Epstein's services and are powerful men, 2 of our living presidents. So Clinton and Trump going at it here. Clinton in that corner with a drop kick off that second rope, and Trump right in the face, trying to get him up for a suplex. And we get a buzzer. And joining the 2 former presidents is Senator Ted Cruz. Cruz was a ref last week, also showed up at the Texas football game, and Texas proceeded to lose, so people brought up the curse of Ted Cruz, where any sporting event he goes to, the team he's rooting for loses. And of course, Ted Cruz has said that curse is not real. He is not a curse, but any cursed person will try to convince you they're not cursed. And he knocks Trump over the top rope, but doesn't follow up. Trump's out there on the apron, but gets back in. Clinton over that top rope now, and Trump's out there with him. This is a dangerous place. One of them could get thrown off and eliminated here. And there's a slam on the ring apron onto a ladder, and Trump going for a pin on that apron. And now Cruz is out there, and they're fighting on that apron. Nobody eliminated. Here comes President Biden. So we have current president and 2 former presidents in the ring now, and Senator Ted Cruz. Trump still on that apron. Takes one of those ladders representing the meritocracy and gets it out of there. Biden on the top rope, and he comes after Clinton. And Trump with a nice slam on Clinton as well. So we have, like I said, we have 2 former presidents, Trump and Clinton, and current President Biden and Senator Ted Cruz, who will never be president. So nobody's been eliminated yet. We got 4 men in there. Again, our referees are the police, state, and the lady cop. Your tax dollars at work. We got a buzzer, and okay, coming out now, Elise Stefanik. So this is a congresswoman from New York who was on some of the Sunday talk shows yesterday talking about how, and she jumps in from the ladder with that trophy of some sort, how she would not guarantee she would certify the election results there. We got a pin, and now there's a kick out. Stefanik said she would not say that she was going to certify those election results. She wanted to wait and see that they had a clean and fair election. So we already have folks talking about we're not going to have a fair election. Of course, Biden's camp is already calling it saying democracy is at stake, and it's, democracy at stake is the thing is you got a lot of people who don't really care about democracy being at stake. Enough of that. Gavin Newsom, governor of California, he's coming out. Sorry, I lost my train of thought and got kind of sickened by the discourse. Gavin Newsom, governor of California, probably would be running for president if he had the potential to. Biden wasn't already guaranteed that slot. Gavin Newsom, definitely a large ego out there in California, prominent state, and he knocks Ted Cruz out. So Gavin Newsom with the forearm smash gets rid of Ted Cruz. So Cruz is gone. Nice smash there by Newsom. Way to really introduced himself to the discourse. Wearing the jeans with the knee pads, the sign of a down-to-earth politician or a campaign manager who tells him that's what makes him look relatable. And here comes Lauren Boebert. Lauren Boebert, congresswoman from Colorado, carrying that chair. She, of course, is switching districts this year. Has said that Hollywood money has made it so she can't win her own district. She, of course, barely won it last time. In fact, in election night, they said she had lost her district, but a recount gave her the win barely, but she is switching districts. I always think that's interesting. People switch districts or switch states to be senator. I feel like you should have to live somewhere for, 5 to 10 years before you can be elected from it. Well, we're getting ready to get a buzzer. We'll see who comes out now. Yeah, and it's the 3%er. Of course, January 6th was this past weekend, so that brings up the previous January 6th. As I said, President Biden saying democracy was at stake, and I think you will see that 3%er is a good example of a lot of people who feel it is actually pretty patriotic to overthrow the government. I think there's more people who don't care about democracy than a lot of folks realize. They're still believing that old American mythology where and Elise Stefanik's over the top rope and Boebert's out there with her. And Boebert rolls her up there on that apron, and Trump goes out there with him. And he's back in and then back out. And then Boebert gives Stefanik a kick, and Stefanik is eliminated. So Lauren Boebert and Gavin Newsom got pinned in there as well. Gavin Newsom was pinned, and J.D. Vance is coming out, and I have to say, Bob, you know the rule. Producer Bob Dabalina, he knows J.D. Vance is my mortal enemy on this earth. I've been challenging J.D. Vance to an Appalachian chain death match for years now, ever since J.D. Vance put out that idiotic book of his, and I will continue to challenge him. He's, of course, wearing the trunks in there, alleging his Scots-Irish ancestry. J.D. Vance, I really hope to pummel him one day with a logging chain and bloody him. That is one of my goals for 2024, is to assault J.D. Vance. Then we get a buzzer, and the Tech Lord is coming out. Of course, my comments there will be suppressed and subverted by the Tech Lord, most likely. Tech Lord still controlling a lot of things, maintains the algorithm. Giant effect on all things, especially now that we mostly get all our information through social media. The algorithm's even more important. So just to recap who's in there, we have former presidents Donald Trump and Bill Clinton, current president Joe Biden, Lauren Boebert, the 3%er, Senator J.D. Vance from Ohio, and the Tech Lord. Crowded field in there now, and we get a buzzer. And hey, it's the Library Drag Queen, RuPaul's latest season. 3%er got tossed there. Couldn't see who tossed him, but the 3%er is out. Of course, the latest season of RuPaul has come out, and the Library Drag Queen, of course, was a threat to all our children. And then that sort of just went away. The Republican news propaganda apparatus is always looking for a new boogeyman or boogie they to scare their people with. Tech Lord just nailed Donald Trump with that ladder. Drag Queen with a roll up on Lauren Boebert. We got a buzzer, and here comes Senator Josh Hawley. That tough guy from Missouri, Senator Josh Hawley. Biden off the top rope on Clinton over there in the corner. J.D. Vance and Hawley having a little senatorial debate over there to start things off. Trump, of course, going after that Library Drag Queen. Now Josh Hawley going after Biden. And he gets a DDT on Biden. And now has some sort of chin hold on him. Library Drag Queen with a pin on Clinton, sitting across Clinton's face. And he kicks out, and then she gets nailed by a chair with J.D. Vance. So the Library Drag Queen did not have a very successful run here tonight. We got a buzzer, and here comes Antifa. Dreaded Antifa. Scary, scary Antifa. Allegedly going to overthrow the government themselves and not the 3%er and those guys who seem more well-equipped to do it. Hawley on the top rope comes down and misses. J.D. Vance and Lauren Boebert going at it. Donald Trump and Antifa battling over there. Nice roll-up by Trump on Antifa. Only gets a 1 count. Vance tried to get a pin on Biden. Nothing came of it. And we got another buzzer. And it's not an FBI agent. So this is another member of Antifa who is very clear to warn you over and over that they are not an FBI agent. Questionable backstory. They showed up out of nowhere. They tend to encourage people. And J.D. Vance pins Donald Trump. A little bit of conflict there in the MAGA ranks as J.D. Vance takes out Donald Trump. He will not repeat as winner this week. Kind of impossible to expect that from that first spot anyways. So Trump has been eliminated, and then Bill Clinton knocked over the top rope. Bill Clinton eliminated by J.D. Vance as well. So Vance took out our first 2 competitors, and coming out now, Mitt Romney. Sorry, just like Gavin Newsom wearing the jeans. That's the sign of a politician who wants to pretend he is of the people. And Antifa and Mitt Romney going at it. Not an FBI agent and Antifa fighting there. They're supposed to be working together. Romney's got Lauren Boebert up, holding her up, blood rushing to her head, and drops her across her face. And then J.D. Vance nailing her with a sledgehammer. Roll up on Hawley, and then flipped onto the Tech Lord. And Hawley holds it. The Tech Lord is eliminated. So the Tech Lord is taken out by Josh Hawley. Another buzzer. The discourse is fast and furious. Vivek Ramaswamy. He was in our contest last week. Republican candidate for president. Not a very serious candidate, but he's still out there pretending there's some diversity and choice amongst that field, which will probably get narrowed down pretty quickly to just Trump. It's all just a show for now. Not an FBI agent, J.D. Vance going at it. And there's a roll-up on that not an FBI agent by J.D. Vance. Mitt Romney and Antifa battling on one side. Biden and Hawley going at it. Boebert still out there. And here comes that critical thinking punk, a long-time competitor in these contests. Our critical thinking punk, an old punk. And there's a pin, and that is Vivek Ramaswamy getting the pin on Antifa. That critical thing. And Josh Hawley got tossed by Biden right after that. that was 2 quick eliminations. That critical thinking Punk, of course, old Punk, tired of everybody, doesn't believe in either party. And then Mitt Romney got tossed, hit by that chair. He's gone. So we've had a number of eliminations to thin the field down pretty quickly. And we got a buzzer. Trying to keep track of who's in there. Looks like we have 5 folks still in there. And coming out to join them, Jill Stein. Speaking of third-party spoiler, I don't care much for Jill Stein. I used to vote for the Green Party pretty much all the time. If there's a third-party candidate, I'm going to vote for him. Of course, they're saying democracy is at stake, but folks will also tell you don't vote third-party. Cornel West this time, Jill Stein. Democracy was at stake 24 years ago when we had what happened in 2000 election. President Biden pinned by Lauren Boebert there. And instead of them doing what needed to be done to fix democracy, they instead blamed Ralph Nader and third parties and made them a pariah, and they still blame third parties, but they have no tangible power, third parties. It is the main 2 parties who have destroyed democracy. And speaking of those main 2 parties, here comes Mike Pence, former vice president. Of course, seen this past week, signing artillery being sent to Israel. What a gross man. What a gross man Mike Pence is. Of course, his presidential campaign did not last very long at all. He did not even make it to these caucuses and primary season. Of course, hard to forget that they wanted to actually hang Pence on January 6th. I find it interesting that so many Republicans step in line with Trump and all when they actually wanted to get rid of a lot of those people. And here comes the wealthy leftist. So the wealthy leftist is coming out here, now operating a boutique bookstore where he likes to flaunt his selection of political, progressive, challenging books. Of course, all to be purchased for new in a boutique shop at a shopping district. And you can also get decolonized flags there, which is always interesting to me, because if you actually decolonized yourself, you wouldn't want a flag. But you know what? It's not so much about doing the act, about performing as if you were doing the act. It's all performative. So get you that decolonized flag, hang it up, and you can pretend that you don't come from the parents you do. And I recognize that music from the south side of Facebookistan. It's the Reply Guy. He's back out there. I did not get word back from him about hubcaps like I was mentioning last week. So to reset the field, we got Lauren Boebert out there, not an FBI agent. Presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. The critical thinking Punk is still out there, isn't he? Yeah, he's still out there. Jill Stein, third-party candidate. Mike Pence, the wealthy leftist, and the Reply Guy. And Vivek Ramaswamy just nailed that critical thinking Punk with a 2x4. Wealthy leftist just kind of flew off the top rope. I don't know where he was coming from or what he was trying to do. And get a buzzer, and here comes Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis wearing those hurricane muck boots of his. Of course, little Ron thinking he's going to be a viable challenger to Trump. Trump has not even faced him in any debates and avoided him. And I think when those first votes come in, Ron DeSantis is going to be incredibly humbled, despite having spent a ton of money. He gets a roll up on the critical thinking Punk, who rolls him back. Just one count, though. Jill Stein and that wealthy leftist locked up over there on the far side. Sorry, Lauren Boebert and the wealthy leftist, although Jill Stein got up and knocked Lauren Boebert out, so she is gone. Lauren Boebert eliminated by Jill Stein. So the third party did eliminate somebody. And we've got a buzzer, and coming out to join the pack is going to be the free thinker. The free thinker, he was out here last week. No points for the free thinker last week, but he was out here. He goes right after DeSantis. Him and DeSantis are going at it. Reply Guy stomping on Vivek over there. Pence still out there, not an FBI agent still out there. That critical thinking Punk and the free think, well, they don't lock up. A lot of action going on, left and right. DeSantis dropped on his head by the wealth. The quick count there by the ref. And there's a pin, not an FBI agent, and that is a slow count by the lady cop. And coming out, Nikki Haley, other Republican candidate, Nikki Haley. She joins the mix here. 2 Republican candidates, or 3, DeSantis, Haley, and Vivek Ramaswamy, the top. And, well, Ramaswamy's over the top rope. Is he going to get back in? He gets back in. Haley knocks the reply guy out. So the reply guy had a short night tonight. It did not cause much damage. Nikki Haley gets rid of him. I don't believe we have a lot of slots left. 3 slots left, so only 3 more folks coming out. And we've got 9 folks in there, so crowded field still. Bulldog on Nikki Haley by Ron DeSantis, and here comes the independent centrist. This is a local man who calls himself a centrist, thinking about making a vanity run for the House of Representatives. Not sure what centrist means to him. It seems it basically means Republican, but he doesn't like Trump. But he also doesn't want to call himself a Democrat, which is basically centrist, because Republican propaganda about Democrats being socialists has been so successful. So he calls himself an independent centrist and is going to try to run as a third-party candidate if he can get enough signatures for that House of Representatives ballot in his home state. And Ron DeSantis eliminated Jill Stein, so Jill Stein could only cause so much damage. Third-party influence limited, and here comes the bootlicker. The bootlicker. Previous season, the bootlicker. And there's a pin on the free thinker. So the independent centrist gets rid of the free thinker. You'd think they would have been allies, but I guess not. The bootlicker comes out. Of course, he loves the police state, so I'm sure he's glad to see the police state and the lady cop out there being our referees tonight. Bootlicker, not an FBI agent, don't lock up. We got one more person coming out. I don't know who it is. Critical Thinking Punk and the bootlicker going after Nikki Haley there. And there's a pin over on the far side, but nope, kick out. And it is the Blue Sky Communist fan favorite, formerly the Twitter communist, now the Blue Sky Communist, left Twitter. Any self-respecting progressive leftist is gone from Twitter, and that includes the Twitter communist, who is now the Blue Sky Communist. So he is out here. Blue Sky is a very strange form of social media. I don't know if you've been there. Wealthy leftists over the top rope with the independent centrist, and the independent centrist finishes the job and gets rid of the wealthy leftists. And Ron DeSantis got pinned in there too. I think that might have been the bootlicker. And Vivek Ramaswamy is over that top rope, but he gets back in. So we're quickly down to 8, and then you make it 7 because that Blue Sky Communist just pinned Nikki Haley. So Nikki Haley pinned by the Blue Sky Communist. The bootlicker's got the independent centrist in a sleeper hold there. Blue Sky Communist nails him. Critical Thinking Punk and Vivek Ramaswamy going at it. Mike Pence is still out there. Pretty good showing by old Mike Pence, to be honest. Our longest competitor is independent centrist is on that apron. And he gets back in. Our longest competitor is not an FBI agent. Has been out there the longest. Mike Pence just slammed by the Blue Sky Communist. Yeah, not an FBI agent. Nails the Blue Sky Communist. There's a pin on just the one count on independent centrist by the bootlicker. So to reset the field, we got presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy, former Vice President Mike Pence, the bootlicker, an independent centrist, Critical Thinking Punk, not an FBI agent, and the Blue Sky Communist. And there's a bridge pin on that Critical Thinking Punk by Mike Pence, and Mike Pence eliminates the Critical Thinking Punk. That was quite a pin there by Mike Pence. The old evangelical from Indiana is really having a good showing here tonight. Down to our final 6. Of course, the final 4 will get bonus points. And Pence just drops that not an FBI agent in the police state with a slow count on an FBI agent. You'd think the police state would be against this alleged Antifa member who is not an FBI agent, but that was an awfully favorable slow count. The bootlicker tries to get Pence up but couldn't. They both fall. And there's a roll-up on Vivek Ramaswamy by not an FBI agent, and a quick count that time. police state certainly seems to be in cahoots with the not an FBI agent. Begs the question if that not an FBI agent is not a police state member themselves. I don't know. Can't say. He's hiding behind that mask. And the blue sky communist just nailed by the independent centrist. He then punches, just clearing house actually. Independent centrist hitting everybody. Not an FBI agent drops that independent centrist on their face. Blue sky communists going after Pence, but then the bootlicker gets involved. Down to 5. One of these men will be eliminated, and the other 4 will get bonus points. Oh, and not an FBI agent just tosses that blue sky communist, so even though he is the last man out, he does not make it to the final 4. And not an FBI agent over the top rope. We could be done. He's back in. And then Pence with a forearm smash off the top rope. So we've got 4 left. These men will all get bonus points. That not an FBI agent, Mike Pence, the bootlicker, and the independent centrist. Right now, not an FBI agent and Mike Pence are locked up. Bootlicker with a pin on that independent centrist. Only a 1 count. Pence with some blows to the bootlicker's face. Pence has done far better than I ever would have expected, folks. Bootlicker saluting the cops over there. And then the centrist runs into him. And then Pence drops the bootlicker with a spine breaker. Not an FBI agent has that broom and nails Pence in the back of the head with that broom. And the bootlicker tries to roll him up. So these are our final 4. And there's a pin on the bootlicker, no count though. Pence and that not an FBI agent going at it, and no, he couldn't get him up for the hold. The bootlicker and independent centrist switching on each other. Now the centrist and Pence are going at it, trying to get a handle on Pence. And not an FBI agent. Oh man, that was a devastating punch by the centrist. It immediately bloodied up the not an FBI agent. Bootlicker is saluting the FBI agent, not an FBI agent. What was that all about? Well, he's just saluting whoever. Of course, your referees again, the police state and the lady cop. Made some slow counts for the not an FBI agent. These are our final 4. Second week of our winter 2024 Monday night. And there's a pin on Pence. And that's 2. And the bootlicker gets 3. Mike Pence is eliminated. The bootlicker gets the pin. So Mike Pence will get 3 bonus points. And we are now down to 3. The bootlicker, the not an FBI agent, allegedly an Antifa member. Well, he goes for a pin on the centrist, and that is a quick count, man. What a quick count, and the centrist is gone. Reverse suplex on the not an FBI agent by the bootlicker, and there is just a slow 1 count. And then a shot to the gut. Another suplex, and drops him. Bootlicker, big suplexes on that, but then flipped over. And he's held down. And there's a quick count by the not an FBI agent wins. It looked like the bootlicker might have had him, but then there was that quick roll up and then an even quicker count, man. I don't know what to say about that. Let's look at that replay. You can see the bootlicker suplexes that not an FBI agent, but then the not an FBI agent rolls him up, goes for the pin, and that police state comes over and makes a quick count, man. That was a quick count. So tonight's results, let's look at the results board. Not an FBI agent up top with 14 points, getting those 10 bonus points. The bootlicker had 9, the independent centrist 7, Mike Pence with 4. President Biden and my arch nemesis J.D. Vance had 3, and Lauren Boebert had 2. So let's look at our updated standings after 2 of 7 events. Clarence Thomas, Supreme Court Justice, and not an FBI agent. They're tied at the top. Donald Trump in second, 2 points behind him with 12. The bootlicker, President Biden, independent centrist Mike Pence, and the police state, who was our referee tonight, they were still on that leaderboard, so that's where we stand. As always, folks, this is supported by my Southern Gothic Futurist Patreon. That Patreon has a lot of other stuff. Everything that I do is basically the philosophy of Southern Gothic futurism, which means the power of lounge will guide you to a peaceful and chill life if you let it. That's what I'm about. That's what this is about. Monday Night Rumble of the Discourse, winter 2024. Unfortunately, this is going to be 7 weeks in a row. And even more unfortunately, I've only done 2 so far. So that means I've got to come back to this damn cold-ass arena for another 5 weeks and finish this season up. Thank you to Catbird and friends of Catbird. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to click that link, follow the page, do whatever the hell you want, man. Enjoy your life. It's too short. Salam.